right, following up The Breed with Wilderness, which has some similarities for sure. One being an island, and the other being dogs who attack. Now, these dogs are not genetically modified. They have a human companion who is sending them out to be attack dogs, so they have a little bit more direction than the breed, who's just kind of like out there as a pack and killing anything in sight. But yeah, this is an Irish film. It has Sean Pertwee in it, which I feel like I see him in so much random, lower budgeted films of this time period. I feel like he pops up in a lot of shit. He's in Dog Soldiers, right? Yeah, I just feel like I see him kind of everywhere in these films. The main kid in this, spoilers for the film, of course. I know him from a lot of stuff. He went on to be this character Sean in the show Servant on Apple Plus. He was also in Black Mirror, the episode where him and his wife are like fucking each other with the like they're like replaying their old sex life. I think she's seeing the guy she's actually fucking at that time, like cheating on him with, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've seen that episode. But he also has played a few apes in movies. He plays Koba in the Planet of the Apes movies, as well as Kong in Skull Island. So I didn't know that about him. Very Andy Serkis of him. So I didn't know that. I didn't realize he was the guy playing Koba, but that's pretty cool. And I learned that watching this film. So there you go. I always like to look into the actors and whatnot and see what else they had done that I maybe had forgotten or never knew. And that was one of the things I don't feel like I ever knew. So we follow these kids who are in like a juvenile detention center, and they're all just awful to each other. And there's these two kids who are the bullied. They're the weaker of the kids. And one kid is bullied so hard he commits suicide. And that's kind of the whole driving point of the film, which is not surprising, right? Like these types of films, which I guess you could kind of call this a slasher, sort of. I mean, it not really. It does have it as slasher on IMDb. I wouldn't consider it a slasher, but it has slasher feels to it for sure. It's more of like a survival thriller with a slasher-ish antagonist. So I wouldn't be upset at anybody for calling this a slasher movie. So you're kind of getting like a free little Slasher Sunday before Slasher Sunday. But oh boy, the Slasher Sunday we have lined up for you is a fucking doozy. That movie made me laugh so hard so many times. So I can't wait to talk about it. It'll be available this Sunday, or for the members even earlier, I'm sure. Probably even tomorrow, to be completely honest. Anyway, so one thing that has always struck me as super fascinating and really just kind of tells you everything you need to know about humans. And I've talked about this before, so this isn't the first time I'm ever going to talk about this on the channel, but it's probably not going to be the last either, because I do kind of find it very fascinating. So people fear going to prison because, of course, number one, they don't want their freedom taken away, of course. But like one of the main reasons people fear prison is because it is a dangerous place with dangerous people, and they, could rape you, they can beat and kill you, they can, whatever. But the thing I find fascinating is that there is no rule, there is no law, there is no, mandate or something, rules that tell you that you have to beat up your fellow inmate, that you have to rape your fellow inmate, that you have to be mean to any of these things, right? And they're afraid of the prisons, but they're also the ones who make the prisons bad. I find this very fascinating. I get it. Like, the people in there, once you kind of have that mindset, and then there's other people in there that are just bad people, and they're going to take what they want. But, like, they're all like, prison is hell. Prison is the worst. Prison is filled with these people who do terrible things to each other. But, like, everybody feels that way. Like, but they all choose to do it. I know it's never going to stop. I know that this is just how people are. And I know that's, a reason, like, a lot of them are in there is because they can't seem to stop their impulses. But I find it fascinating because you could go into prison. Everybody could just, like, agree. I'm just not going to do anything. Like, it could actually, my point being is prison could be like summer camp, basically. Like, you could just come in there and it's like free food, free housing, free whatever, and you just hang out in there and everyone has a good time and they're buddy. Everyone's like laughing with each other. They're playing games. They have the yard to go out and play basketball and fucking throw football around and work out together, and it's just like hanging out with the boys. Yeah, not getting laid would suck for sure, but, like, there's no reason you have to be terrible to each other. But that's just the human aspect of it, right? If you were to take away the human aspect of it and just put a bunch of, like, beings in there that were detached from humanity's flaw of just wanting to destroy everything, create drama, kill each other. I don't know. This has always been a super fascinating thing to me, right? I feel like this is perfectly illustrated in Paddington 2, when Paddington goes in there and kind of reforms the prison system and makes everyone get along, and it's like this wonderful, joyous place to be at now. I don't know. I know I'm rambling on this, and it's kind of like, it does have to do with this movie, of course. Like, these kids are being terrible to each other, but they don't have to be. But that's why they're in there. I get it. Humans are a conundrum. Humans are like, it's like people who live in squalor and they spray paint all over the shit in their neighborhood, and they break bottles and they smash shit up, and they treat their living quarters in their living area like shit, but then complain that their area is shit. It's like, then don't, like, degrade it. Don't spray paint it. Don't fucking do these things. Like, you might not have a lot of money, but you don't have to live in squalor if you take care of what little you have. It's just a very basic concept that just seems to be lost on so many people. But of course they lack, discipline. They lack motivation. They lack self-respect. They lack all these different things. And that's a shame. It's just a shame. Anyways, moving on. I'll move on from this topic. But that's all I could think while I was watching this once again. It's like, these are such young kids. They're supposed to be like teenagers. And somehow they're so awful to each other. They're so fucking awful to each other. They're so filled with rage and hate and anger. And it's like, and I get it. I was a kid who was mad at my parents and this and that. But I never had a desire to bully anybody. There's never been an appealing thing to me, as a big guy, as somebody who's 6'3" and well over 200 pounds. I just, I could have been some big body that went around and picked on little 5 nothing kids and flexed my muscle on them so I could feel more powerful than my stepfather at home who was abusive and all this shit. It just never appealed to me. I never for one second ever felt like I was going to take the power back. So watching kids like this beat the shit out of each other, make their lives a living hell when they could all just get along and have a good time and their prison stay would just be fine. It's just, I don't know. It's wild to me. I don't get humans at all. I never will. And I guess, yeah. All right. So after the kid is dead, they get sent to this island. At the same time they're there, there's these girls that are on the island for basically the same thing. Now, this is wilderness. This is literally what the movie's called. And we actually do have that here in Arizona. I don't know how many states do this, but we have a wilderness program here where these troubled youths are brought out here, and they're put into these schools, and if they continue to keep misbehaving, they kind of like move down into, or they can move up into, if they start in wilderness, they can work their way out, or they can get in the schools and work their way down. It's kind of like a tier system of trying to get out of there. And I've done a bunch of their hair. Like, I can always tell when I'm doing a kid from one of these schools. Copper Canyon was the name of the school here. I don't know if it's around anymore, but back in the day, I used to do a bunch of kids from Copper Canyon, and they'd come in, and they'd always have like a guardian with them who was always very close and always listening in and always making sure that they like couldn't run for it, because they had to like keep an eye on these kids. And the kids would tell me about all sorts of things. They would tell me about the drugs they were addicted to, the amount, like, the fact that they were having fucking sex with kids and whatever. And these were young kids, 13, 14 years old, talking to me about their, heroin addictions. And it was terrible. And their parents, man, just in the majority of the cases, it didn't surprise me that much after meeting their parents. I'm not gonna lie. Their parents were genuinely just so either controlling, very obviously, condescending, or like completely aloof and distant, and it was sad. So seeing this where the kids are like sent out into the wilderness to try to like reconnect them and to take away the outside world influences and might kind of make them live like the olden time, so to speak. I think it's a unique approach. I think it's interesting, especially in modern times, like right now when kids are addicted to cell phones, social media, and the internet. Taking them away from that in a place where they literally have no access to technology of any sort, and they kind of have to get grounded again with nature. I think it could be very beneficial, but then again, it's always about who is running it and how it works. The fact that one guy, Sean Pertwee's character, is supposed to be taking out like 7 or 8 basically full grown men. I mean, these guys are what, 16 to 20, 16 to like 17. Like, one dude is almost twice his size. If these guys want to like wreak havoc and take him over, and there's just one of him, what's he gonna do? Not much. So I found that fascinating that he was out there by himself. And same thing with the girls. The girls were out there with one chick. And I was like, what's to stop these kids from running amok? Like, if they were really like violent criminals, one of these kids was like basically a skinhead. I think he was, and then his like little, like not little, his big sidekick. He's like kind of following suit with whatever the other guy wanted. But he was the fucking worst. You were just like, oh my god, this kid's the worst of the worst. I want this kid dead. I hate this kid so much. So very glad when he ended up dying, but he just was awful. The way he treated everybody, the shit he said, the shit he did. Yeah, these are the kinds of people you're like, please kill them. Please kill them. And with how these kids treat the kid who commits suicide, it's like, I don't have any problem with these kids. Like, I'm totally rooting for the killer in this movie for the most part. And the main guy that lives, he's a fucking asshole too. He's a total fucking asshole too. Like, when the kid comes up to him out there in nature, and he's a realistic character. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that I don't like him, right? Like, and I don't support anything that he's doing. But that kid tries to come up into the wilderness, and he's like, "I thought you were different." He's like, "I'm not. I'm the fucking same. Keep your distance." And he like beats the shit out of this dummy and smashes it to bits. And he takes the knife, and he's the most aggressive and angry of them all. So the fact he ends up surviving when he's such a prick, it's fine. I just was like, oh man, this is not who I wanted to survive this. I kind of wanted the dude to get away with it, and for the bullied kid who was with him to like get his vengeance and fuck all these guys. And the big dumb one, I think his name was Lewis. Was that what it was? He ends up falling for this girl, and she like falls for him, and they end up having sex, and he gets totally whipped on her, which I thought was good, because it's like this one guy kind of takes over as his master, and he just follows him like a puppy. And then this girl comes in, and as soon as he has sex with her, it's like, oh, my allegiance has changed immediately. So that was funny. And then this Sean Pertwee's character is shot with arrows into a tree and then mauled by a dog, bites his face, bites his fingers off, eats into his chest, and like, is eating his innards. Like, this guy goes through absolute hell. And it's like, the girls have literally nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. They're just completely innocent bystanders who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this guy is so committed to what he's doing. He's like, I don't care. These girls are going down just like the rest of them, which makes him a villain. And you're like, at that, you're like, okay, I don't want you to get away with it, because these people don't deserve it. They don't deserve it at all. I don't know if I would consider, I get where he's at, and it's like he's pissed that his kid is dead, and he feels like these guys are responsible, but I don't know. I don't know if the Sean Pertwee's character deserves it. He does try his best to rehabilitate these kids, I guess, but he's got his back up against the wall. Maybe he's not doing the best job ever, but who the hell could with idiots like this? This reminded me a decent amount of like Sleepaway Camp 3 in that regard. Anyway, yeah, the one, I think it's the black kid, he gets mutilated and hung out on a tree. That was pretty good. The killer is wearing a ghillie suit, which blends in with the environment. It like has moss or like leaves or like whatever over it to make it look like you're part of the environment. Man, if you're hunted by someone like this, they also say he's like special forces and whatever. If this guy wants you dead, you're fucking dead. Like, these kids would have no chance against him, and I find it really ridiculous in the end that our main kid, just with some aggression, seems to be able to overpower and ultimately kill him. I call bullshit on that. This like special forces guy should be able to take down any one of these kids, no problem. You ever seen the movie First Blood? That's what it would look like. And that's kind of what this is. It's First Blood if John Rambo was going after kids for killing his son. That's essentially what we're getting here, because the scenes are similar when Rambo's getting hunted by the cops and they like come into his forest, except for they're searching for him, and in this regard he's trapping them. One dipshit tries to rape that girl, and then he gets the shit beat out of him, and gets his leg caught in a trap, and they're all like screaming at them to help him, and they like walk away, and they're like, absolutely not. And I'm like, yeah, of course, absolutely not. No fucking way I'm going out into a bear trap ridden area to try to save some guy who literally just tried to rape her 20 seconds ago. There's no way. There's no way anyone's going out there to help that guy. And then he's like gonna cut his leg off, and he's like, no, and he tries to like move, and it rips his leg off, and then he falls back into a trap and it smacks on his head. Reminded me a good amount of The Collector. Similar thing going on there. And then I found it, this is definitely rarer, but the leader of the girls group, the older girl, like, I don't know, she's probably in her fucking late 20s, early 30s, but older than the rest. She falls off a cliff from the dogs. The dog and her like go over the cliff. And you know, you're thinking, okay, you see the water and you're like, all right, she's probably fine. She'll come back. She'll help them out. She'll, end up surviving and coming in at the most convenient moment for the plot. And then she kind of like crawls back in more realistically. She's really smashed up. And then they like want to protect her. And I almost feel like there were somewhat, I don't know, I don't even think that's true. I was gonna say they felt like they were kind of hinting at a romance between her and the kid who survives, the main guy from Servant. Maybe, I don't know, that was weird. Their confrontation felt like she was kind of into him. Whatever, anyway. But she like crawls back into the scene like she's all fucked up like she would be. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna go run out and try to like get stuff, like stay here. And then she's like laying there, and the guy in the ghillie suit is kind of like right next to her, almost like a predator or something. And then she's like, oh fuck, and like screams out, and he just slits her throat. And I was like, oh, so this whole big thing where she gets pushed off the cliff, you think she's dead, then she comes back into the movie 20-30 minutes later and she's alive, just to then be killed off 2 minutes later unceremoniously, just kind of like, oh, he's in the trees and he just slits her throat, like, I gotcha, like you thought you got away. I liked that. I mean, it's a complete subversion of expectations. You never thought that was going to happen watching this movie, and yeah, so that was actually unique. I've never seen anything quite like that. And then he takes her head, cuts it off, and sticks it on a pike, so that's pretty damn gruesome. And Steve and Lewis. Lewis is the tall, big one, and then Steve is the dipshit who needs to have his ass kicked. And oh man, Steve is also the one who finds the one that I think is with Lewis. Is that the one? I think that's his like little girlfriend. She gets caught in a trap, and then there's like gasoline or some kind of flammable accelerant, and it's like there, and he has the chance to cut her down, and it's like there is a fuse that's been lit, which he steps on, and then he lifts his foot like a minute later and it starts again. I don't think that's how a fuse works. I don't think you can just step on it, put it out, and then let your foot off and it starts again. Like, what? That seemed completely unbelievable to me. But yeah, he just lets her fucking roast. Just cooks her, man. Like, fire up on her face, lights her on fire. She's hanging upside down, screaming as she's burning to death. I mean, the worst death. And what did that girl do? She took his friggin' bodyguard from him, but outside of that, I mean, this girl literally did nothing. I mean, I don't know why she's there. She probably did something lame, but this girl had nothing to do with this guy's death, and she has probably the most brutal death outside of maybe Sean Pertwee, who was ripped apart by a dog while being, stuck by arrows into a tree. That's pretty gnarly. So probably would still, I don't know, man. Those both are eaten alive or burned to death. Those are like the two worst options imaginable. Both sound horrible. Both sound awful in every way. So I don't fucking know. And then let's see. Oh yeah, the bullied kid who ends up being in on it. He tries to give him up. which is funny, and he's like pushing him out from the tunnel that they go in, the cave, and then the dog like gets called back because he doesn't want that kid killed. That should have clued them in on the fact that he was probably in on it. I think that they probably would have been like, why the hell did he stop? That doesn't make any sense. And then someone's like, this is all because we bullied a kid. Yes, bullying kids is bad and can lead to some serious consequences. If you think you can get away with bullying people and you don't think you'll ever face consequences and would be surprised if you did, you're just an idiot. Like, plain and fucking simple. If you've bullied someone in your past relentlessly and someone comes after you years later and you're shocked, you're a moron. That's all there is to it. Hey, people are, oh, you should get over it. Why? Why should they get over it? Why should they get over it? Why should they allow you to get away with doing something terrible to them when you got nothing in return? You get to just go on with your merry little life and feel better than everybody. And then the people who were bullied, they just have to go to therapy and forgive you so that they can move on with their life? No. No. I'm all for these people coming and exacting their revenge. Fuck that. I could be wrong. I guess I could be, but I don't care. I stick by it. If you've been bullied hard enough, these people don't deserve to get away with it. And then, the one kid's like, I don't know your son, nor did I care. Oof. These kids don't have any tact. I mean, as far as the kid taking down the special forces guy, it's rage mixed with like his injuries, I guess. I'll try to do my best to defend it, but I don't know. Sorry, I had to go to the dentist today after having 10 fillings 2 weeks ago, and I thought I was golden. I thought I was good, whatever. And then an old root canal tooth inflamed, and I was fucking up for days, thinking that I was just healing from all the different dental stuff that I had just gotten done, enduring it the best I could. And eventually I just had to go into the dentist to be like, what the fuck is going on? Not only did they have to pull the tooth right here in the front, but they had to grind down the 2 teeth next to it and slap on a temp bridge, which I'm going to have replaced with a permanent bridge. But these are all brand new teeth here in the front. These 3 teeth right here, you wouldn't be able to tell. They look exactly the same, but I had full on freaking oral surgery today, and I'm on like very little sleep currently, so probably why I'm rambling so much. And it's actually hurting to talk a bit because of my jaw. But last night when I did the breed, that's when my mouth was inflamed. So if you watch that video, you probably won't even be able to tell, but I was in fucking agony during that video. So, but I love the channel, and I just kind of push through whatever to do it. And then, the kid who's in on it, he doesn't seem to care that the girls got hurt. Once again, like I take back my previous statements. I kind of want everyone in this movie dead outside of the girls. Like, they didn't do anything. And maybe Sean Pertwee's character, but pretty much everybody else can die. For me, for sure. And then once they take down the guy, the remaining girl and the remaining guy, the guy tells her, like, we're faking our death. We're getting out of here, and we're heading off. Faking your death, especially as a kid, would be very difficult. That would be very difficult, especially since they don't find your body. I guess that they would just suspect you died, but once they go there and they find the scene and they find that the killer is very clearly the killer, they're going to wonder, like, why have we never found your body? The killer also ends up getting a dog killed, which he's really pissed off about, and they like cut the dog's head off and put it, out there. Yeah, that's his fault for sure. Those poor dogs, they're just trained to do whatever they're told to do, and he ends up getting them killed. So another reason to fucking want this killer dead. But which anyway, I'm not gonna get into any more rants. But yeah, faking your death. It's always so simple in films. Then we'll just fake our deaths and we'll just get on a boat and go where? And do what? How are you going to apply for a job? How are you going to get anything? Like, where are you going? You're going to make it 20 miles on that freaking speedboat. And then what? You're going to get off of it and be homeless? Like, what's your plan here? Right? Like, I don't know. Anyway, it would be very hard to just like start over with a new life. Unless you're in a witness protection program or you like have really strong connections and they can make you a new identity. But like just some random kid trying to start a new life as an escaped prisoner, good luck. So Wilderness, it was good. It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was good. That's it's not something I'd probably ever watch again, but I did like it. And yeah, reform the prison system is my biggest takeaway. You don't have to be terrible to each other. It's not required. There's no rules. You guys can all hang out and have a good time, learn, educate yourselves, get out of there with a future. But of course, that's not how it works at all. I'm not dismissing the reality. I'm not like, oh, anyone who's in there and defends themselves or is an idiot. No, of course, like people are awful. I just wish that everyone, and I mean this across the whole world. So people get very egotistical about like if everyone was like me, things would be better. Well, in the one area I can say that's true with me is that at least no one would be killing each other. There'd be no wars. I know I'm like Mr. Revenge. I've talked about that, but that's only because people are assholes and they're doing terrible things to me. If everyone was like me, they wouldn't be doing terrible things to each other, so there'd be no need for revenge. Everyone would just get along well enough. Just you don't need to suck each other's dicks and be the best of friends. But I don't know, man. Humans are fucking stupid. Humans are really fucking stupid, and I need to get some sleep. I think I've rambled way too much in this video. I hope it was somewhat entertaining. So for the person who paid for this review on Patreon, I apologize if this was all over the fucking place. I talked about the movie enough, though, I feel. Yeah. You think that kid could take the Special Forces guy even injured like this? I mean, he could, but I don't know. Did they sell it well enough? The acting's pretty good from everybody. That's that. All right. Well, let me know. I'll see you in the comments. Adios.